Hi everyone, it's me, Gwen. Wow, it's been 3 weeks actually. Yes, I had to do the first show of this month on during the first week of June because I went on a 2 week long business trip to another province. So now I'm back. I just came back to Seoul this week actually. Yes, this week too, Monday. Yeah, and was getting used to my daily routine. And now I'm here with you guys to do the live show. And today is finally, have I calmed down? Okay. Well, was I so it's sounding so excited? I think it was because of the microphone. The team just told me to turn down the microphone and it's been down a bit. So now I'm okay. Teji, it's been a long time talking to you, right? I'll talk to you sometime this week or next week, okay? I came back to Seoul and I'm getting used to my daily routine and today is my live show in English. So if I have any listeners coming from abroad, good news, today I'll be speaking fully in English, so you guys will have no problem understanding every single bit of what I'll be dealing during the show. Okay. So Teji's here. Teji, how have you been? I haven't heard from you for a while. So Teji, let me know how you have been. And you gave me some good news that you improved your TOEIC speaking score. Well, it's improving, right? Little by little. So that's good. It's not going back. And do we have anybody else who's coming from other places around the world? 한국 분들도 계시면 저희 채팅창에 참여해 주세요. 네. 제가 영어로 오늘 하는 쇼지만 네. 그래도 한국어 이해하고 또 커뮤니케이션 할 수 있으니까 한국어로도 채팅 올려 주시기 바랍니다. 네. 영어로 꼭 안 쓰셔도 돼요. Well, it's really just too hard to get used to this weather. It's only June and it's of course officially summer. I mean, it's June, July, August, the summer months in Korea, but I just can't get used to this weather. Summer, it's really killing me. And I was in another province, which is in the southern part of Korea. It was hotter. And my mom and dad, I was staying at my mom and dad's house, luckily, because the place was from really close from my parents. So I was staying there. My dad was giving me a ride back and forth. I was really thankful. But one thing is, my parents dislike air conditioning, so they wouldn't turn on the AC. I was just like steamed, steamed. It was steaming hot for me. Okay, so Penny Chen, hello. Your name seems like you're coming from Taiwan. Am I right? And I do believe it's the rainy season in Taiwan right now, and it must be really hot there too, right? And Jiang Nguyen, hi, this is the first time I joined in your live stream. Okay, well, thank you for coming, Jiang. Okay, is this how I should read your name? Yeah, well, we have a lot of Vietnamese listeners joining, and it seems like you guys need a TOEIC speaking 160 or even higher to graduate or get a job, right? And I think that's the reason why you guys are challenging yourselves to this test. So any news from people? Have you guys been taking the test? Were there any test results? The reason why I was in Ulsan, Ulsan is the city's name. It's Ulsan, and it's right next to Busan, the famous city. So I was there, and it takes about 5 hours by car to get there. And I'm originally from there because to give you a little bit of history of me, my father worked for Hyundai Motor Company, and yeah, the Hyundai Motor Company is like based in Ulsan. So he was working there, and that's why my hometown is Ulsan. And while he was working there, he got sent to America, the US market, as they expanded into the US market. So that's where my English background is coming from. The family went to the US when I was 7, and I was raised in the US instead. So I was there in Ulsan for that reason. That's why my family is based in Ulsan. He's not working for the company anymore, but still they're living there. And this time, I was teaching a group of people from a Korean firm called LX. Now, LX used to be, that company used to be a part of LG Group. So this company is a part of LG Group. And LG, which is a very famous company known for their electronics, they need TOEIC speaking score to, get promoted. And the CEO, the president of this company wants the whole entire company, the employees to have 160 or above. So, now there are group of people who need like 160 or higher in order to get promoted. And these, like, there are some people up there who can get promoted only with the TOEIC speaking score. So I was called by the company. They wanted me to come and train their employees, like selected employees, to get that score. So I was there training them for 1 week. Okay. So there were three groups of people, and there were, like, people in each group, and each group were trained for a week. And, the results are, yeah, some of them got 160, but some of them couldn't get 160. So, yeah, so I think they'll be trained again by me. Okay, now, Teji, actually, I've had a sore throat since the beginning of June, but finally getting better. You've been having a sore throat for almost a month? Oh, sorry to hear that. The weather wasn't good to have sore throat. Yeah, it was too hot. Um, okay, well, we're not having many people talking, but we're gonna go on. Let's talk throughout the show. So let's move on to part one. Okay, so this is the first passage. Okay, so for you guys, I will read the passage for you first. Are you unhappy with your current gym? Why not try Riverton Fitness, where we have everything you need to reach your fitness goals? At each of our locations, we offer group classes, personal training sessions, and exclusive events for members. Join this month and receive a major discount on your first year of membership. Okay. I think the microphone. Is it too high? Okay, I think it's fine. All right. So that was the passage. And let's look at some words. Now, the first word is the word current. Current. Like words like this, you think that you know, but actually you have to be very precise with the stress. So it's current with the first syllable stress. The stress goes on you, so it's got to be current, current. And the question this time has a rising intonation in the end, so it's got to be, are you unhappy with your current gym? And you got to pull it up. Why not try Riverton Fitness? Now, the name of the fitness is Riverton, okay? Riverton Fitness. And the next word, fitness. Okay, the T doesn't have to be a hard T. It's just fitness, fitness, just a stopping sound. So fitness goals, fitness goals. And the three things that have been listed are we offer group classes, that's A, group classes, personal training sessions, that's a B, and exclusive events for our members is C. Now, when there are S's, you got to be careful, right? Group classes, training sessions, exclusive events for our members. Make sure you make those sounds for S's. And the word major. I had a student reading this as mayor. It's not mayor, it's major, right? Major discount. And the last word, membership. Membership. Okay. And when there's T in the middle of those words, especially followed by like words like other consonant, then you don't actually say first year, but you say first year. First year. You sort of soften that T sound. Okay, so let me read the passage twice for you guys. First is going to be the slow version. Are you unhappy with your current gym? Why not try Riverton Fitness, where we have everything you need to reach your fitness goals? At each of our locations, we offer group classes, personal training sessions, and exclusive events for our members. Join this month and receive a major discount on your first year of membership. Okay, now you saw when you make a mistake, you can just keep on reading, but just simply notify them that you know your mistake and say sorry, and then keep on, okay? Now, this is going to be my faster version. Are you unhappy with your current gym? Why not try Riverton Fitness, where we have everything you need to reach your fitness goals? At each of our locations, we offer group classes, personal training sessions, and exclusive events for our members. Join this month and receive a major discount on your first year of membership. Okay. The sound of of that student making that word, reading that word mayor, just like stuck in my head, and I kept on thinking about it. So I was like, okay, you shouldn't say mayor, but I always said it. So say major. Unhappy, yes, unhappy. The stress comes on the vowel a. Unhappy. Okay, so that was the first passage. Now moving on to the second passage. Okay. Now I'll give you some time to read the passage. All right, just read and let me know which words are difficult for you guys to read. I think the second passage is more mouthful than the first one. There are a lot of words that are really hard to pronounce, and some long and difficult words where it could be tricky to know where the stress goes. Okay, so here is the reading for the first time. Welcome to the Maplewood Library Tour. Here, you'll discover remarkable examples of early American architecture. We'll explore every floor and uncover fascinating stories from the library's past. Highlights include the rare collections room, the refined reading hall, and the art exhibition space. Before we begin, please ensure all mobile phones are turned off. Okay. So let's look at this from the beginning. The word Maplewood Library Tour. Okay, so this is the name of the place. They're at Maplewood Library, and I guess they're having a tour there. And the word maple. Actually, recently I had pancakes with maple syrup. Maple. And maple, is that red leaf, on Canadian flag. Yes, the red leaf. There's a red leaf in the middle of the Canadian flag, and that's a leaf coming from the maple wood. Okay, so Maplewood Library Tour. The word discover, cover, O has the stress. Remarkable, mark A has the stress. Remarkable, okay. Examples of early American, there's the stress on E, and the word architecture. The stress goes on the first syllable, and CH has to be pronounced as K. So it's architecture. Okay? And we'll explore, the stress goes on the second syllable, explore on the O, and uncover. Remember the word discover? Now this time it's uncover. So, like the words, let's see, this word is built of the root of the word is cover, right? And we have things put in front, which is discover and uncover. Things that are added usually don't have the stress, okay? So it's discover, uncover. And the next word is fascinating. Fascinating has the A, stress on the A syllable. And highlights, the stress is on I. The rare collections room. I think rare could be very hard for many people. Koreans have a hard time pronouncing the right R sound. And I tell my students that you guys have to pull out your lips doing something like rare. Can you see my lips? Rare. Okay. So in order to get the R sound correctly, you have to pull out your lips. It's rare. Okay, refined, and art exhibition. Again, the word exhibition. and ensure. Ensure. Now you can tell that the root of the word is sure, and the en part has been added, so the stress doesn't go on en but goes on ensure. Ensure. And lastly, there's a phrasal verb which is turned off. And normally, when there's a phrasal verb, you see a phrasal verb with a verb and an adverb. It's normally the adverb part that has the stress. So it's turned off, not turned off. Okay, you got to give the stress on off. Okay, some words. Library. Yes, this is another tricky word because there's the L and the R sound together. So it's got to be library. Library. The stress is on I. Okay, library. Library. And refined, the stress is on fine. Okay, refined, not on the RE part. So do not stress the prefix. It's called prefix. Like the parts like un, n, re, in, im, those are called prefix. Okay? So we normally, in like 90% of the cases, you do not stress the prefix. Okay, so now it's done. So I'll read this passage also twice. Now the slow version here. Welcome to the Maplewood Library Tour. Here, you'll discover remarkable examples of early American architecture. We'll explore every floor and uncover fascinating stories from the library's past. Highlights include the rare collections room, the refined reading hall, and the art exhibition space. Before we begin, please ensure all mobile phones are turned off. Oh, one thing, make sure that you guys remember that saying the word mobile and reading it as mobile is totally fine. You know, the native speakers would read this word in two ways. Some people would say mobile phones. Some people might say mobile phones. Both are fine. But in both cases, again, the stress is kept to be put on the first syllable, which is mobile or mobile. Okay? Okay, so Jiang, you're asking fascinating. Okay, fascinating. Oh, I have two Jiangs today. Okay? Coincidentally, we have two Jiangs. So the word fascinating, the stress goes on A. Okay? So it's fascinating. And SC is pronounced as S. You know, like the word science. The spelling is SCIENSCE, right? But we still read it as science, sci. Okay, no C sound, but SC put together is pronounced as S. So it's fascinating, fascinating. Okay, so that was the slow version, right? Now I'm going to read it fast. Welcome to the Maplewood Library Tour. Here, you'll discover remarkable examples of early American architecture. We'll explore every floor and uncover fascinating stories from the library's past. Highlights include the rare collections room, the refined reading hall, and the art exhibition space. Before we begin, please ensure all mobile phones are turned off. Okay, so that was part one, and we're going to move directly on to part 2. Okay, so this is the first picture. Have a look at the picture and let me know what words you wish for me to use. Okay, I just found out that, you know, the woman on the left seems to have, closed her eyes when this picture was taken. Yeah, well, normally, yeah, I think that her eyes are closed. And the woman on the right, I guess it's very natural for her to look down. And for us, it sort of looks like she's closing her eyes, but she's looking down at the screen down there, monitor. So I guess it's fine. But woman on the left, it seems like she's closing her eyes. All right. So there are 4 people, but, the two guys, they're doing something very similar. So I guess you could like talk about them in one, but the woman on the left and the woman on the right, they all are doing something different. So first of all, you guys got to think about the place. Where has this picture been taken? Where was this picture taken, people? Hmm. Okay, so Emung 님, this is a picture taken at a store. That's right. It's a store. And if you can be more specific, it would be better. So you can say it is a grocery store. Let me spell that up for you. At a store, at a grocery store, at a supermarket. Okay. And Penny Chen says, this is a picture taken at a grocery store. Good. Mm-hmm. People are at the checkout counter. Yes, at a checkout counter. That's right. It's called a checkout counter. Hmm. She's using a cash register. It's called a cash register. She's using a cash register. By the way, she is a cashier. This is another TOEIC RC and LC word, right? Cashier is the word that you can use. She's a cashier. She is a cashier. Mm. Okay, I need more verbs, everyone. I need more verbs. 예지님, this is not a market. Actually, you can't say this is a market because market is like 시장. But, it could be a supermarket. But if you just say a market, it's like outdoor place. Yeah, so it's got to be either a supermarket or a grocery store. Jiang, on the right side, the cashier is typing on the keyboard. Right. She is typing, but maybe she is putting in some numbers, putting in some information, right? And two men are looking at their phones. That's true. Looking at their phones. Or you can also say using their phones. And Penny, on the right side of the picture, I can see a woman. She's wearing a black shirt with a green apron. She's standing at the checkout counter and she's holding a bottle of milk on her left hand. Now, the thing about the preposition on, if you're holding something on your hand, it's got to be something like this, right? It's not on her hand right now. So she's holding a bottle of milk with her hand or in her hand. Okay, so the preposition should be corrected. Okay, so when you're saying the thing that's happening here is not calculating, because in Korean, the meaning of calculating has the same like we use that same expression when we say checking out the purchase. Okay, so what they're doing is they are checking out their purchase. So the meaning of checking out means you're getting some kind of a permission to leave the place, right? So normally we can, connect this place, purpose expression when you say, I'm checking out of the hotel. I'm checking out. Let's check out the hotel. Check out of the hotel. So check out, getting the permission. Or you can also use this at a library when you are like borrowing a book from the library. You're checking out some books from the library. So these people are actually checking out their purchases. They're checking out their purchases. They bought some products and they're getting permission by giving them money to take out the products. So they're checking out. That's why it's called a checkout counter. Checkout counter. They're checking out their purchases. Okay. All right, and Teji, there are two men. Both of them are using a smartphone. Now, Teji, when you say both of them, there are two people, so you have to say using smartphones. Two smartphones, okay? Two people are using smartphones. And Emong-nim, in the background, there are two men. They are waiting in line and are using their cell phones. Now, you don't have to use the be verb again when you say are using, okay? It's redundant, repeated, okay? So you can just say they're waiting in line and using their cell phones. One of them is wearing glasses. That is correct. And Khan, the cashier, is wearing. Okay, the tense that we prefer to use for this part is not present tense, but it's present progressive. So you have to say the cashier is wearing a green apron. Okay, I think we have everything there. So now it's my turn to give you guys the answer. This is a picture taken at a supermarket, and there are four people in this picture. On the right side of the picture, there's a woman. She's wearing a green apron and she looks like a clerk. She is helping the customers and holding a bottle of milk. And on the left side of the picture, there's a woman. She is looking at her, milk and smiling. And in the background of the picture, I can see two men, and both of them are waiting in line and waiting for their turns and using their phone. I could add I wanted to add one more sentence, but I was like able to successfully talk about everybody in the picture. Okay, that's the most important thing. If I was not able to talk about every people in this picture, every person in this picture, then I wouldn't have gotten like good enough score. So it's very important to mention everyone in the picture. Okay, so I did it, only that I couldn't say people are shopping at the store. I wanted to end that, answer with maybe people are shopping at the store. Oh, Mandy says both of the men are scrolling the phone. Yes, scrolling down the phone. Yes. Okay, now let's move on to the next picture. Okay, here it is. Okay, this time the pictures aren't so hard. They're just like the ones that we are so used to seeing and talking about. And here in the picture, the guy, what he's doing, that is often seen in on TOEIC speaking test, right? So we know what to say. Just let me know if I would like to see if you guys know how to express what the guy is doing. But other than that, I mean, even what the guy's doing, I've mentioned the expression many times on the show, so you guys should know by now. Okay, I'm pretty sure Teiji-sang, you know it, right? So everyone, give me the expressions. Gosh, we have the AC on, but the room is not super cold yet. Okay. Okay. Leo Zhang, a man is coming down the stairs. Oh, we can say coming down the stairs, but it's better to say walking down the stairs, right? Walking down the stairs. But he's coming towards us actually, so you can also say coming down the stairs. Walking down the stairs, okay? And two people in the front are discussing something. Now, two people in the foreground. If you want to say that, you got to say two people in the foreground, okay, are discussing something. And a man is man. Well, actually, it doesn't really, you can't really know the difference. Both Leo and Tat, when you're saying that, but it's got to be man, okay? A man is walking down the stairs. That's exactly right. And if the guy is going up, then you have to say he's going up the stairs, or a man is walking up the stairs, walking up the stairs. Okay. You can also say when a woman is holding a tablet PC, right? Holding. And one woman is, what is she doing with her hands? What can you say with like the gesture that she's doing? What is she doing with her hands? Taken in an office, inside a building, in a hallway. Yes. Near a stairway. Let me put it. In an office, at a workplace, in a hallway, in a building, near a stairway, or you can say inside. Emong, this is a picture taken in an office building. There are three people and they look like office workers, right? Khan, the woman in the beige blazer is listening attentively. Wow, that is a very good expression. Very good expression. Yes. Listening carefully, listening attentively, paying a lot of attention, right? What is the woman on the right doing? Yes, I know Khan mentioned that they're discussing something, but specifically the woman on the right. What is the woman on the right doing? The woman in the black jacket. The woman in the black jacket. She's making a gesture. Emong, that's right. Yeji님 making a gesture. Right. Yes. And right side of the picture, she's talking and making a gesture. And Mr. Lee or Ms. Lee, teacher Gwen, sorry for the late notice. I got 160 last month. Words can express how grateful I am. Thank you so much. Great news. I'm getting lots of news this month. I've been hearing a lot of this kind of news this month. I had a lot of TOEIC speaking students, getting scores and thanking me because it was directly related to their promotions this time. So they were really grateful and thankful, which I am really, grateful about. And also I've got some other students who are, studying or training to just English conversation, not English with me, business English. And their English have been improving rapidly. So they've been thanking me too. Yeah, some people were really surprised that they were able to communicate with foreign clients in English. And one of them, she actually started talking with a foreigner at an airport. So she was surprised at herself. Great news, Miss Lee or Mr. Lee. Thank you for letting me know and sharing the news. Mandy in the foreground, there are two women. The left one has long hair and carrying a pad, and the right one has short hair. Mandy, just have in mind that hair is uncountable. So you cannot say right one has a short hair. You have to say has short hair. Okay. Both of them are wearing. I said it's not present tense, but it's got to be present progressive. So it's got to be both of them are wearing formally, are dressed up formally. So you can say both of them are wearing formal suits. Both of them are wearing I want to say dressed up formally. Okay. Because when you're wearing something formally, it's not just wearing, you're dressed up for something, right? So it's more natural to say both of them are dressed up formally. And I think when I have to choose from the word carrying or holding, it would be better to say holding. Because when you're carrying something, it's more like you're moving the item, okay? So right now they're stopped, they're just standing. So it's better to say holding. And is using body language. That's right. She has short hair. Jiang, no A, okay? She has a short hair. That's wrong. She has short hair. He's looking at the floor in front of him, beneath him. He's looking down at something. He's looking down at something. How about that? Emong님, she is looking down. He is looking down at something. And in the middle of the picture, there's another woman. She's holding a tablet and listening to her. Listening to the other woman. Behind them, a man is walking down the stairs. Again, the expression is a man is walking down the stairs with an S. Okay, so I think I'm ready. I'll give you guys my answer. Well, this is a picture taken in an office building, and there are 30 people in this picture. On the right side of the picture, actually in the foreground of the picture, I can see two women, and both of them are standing, and they're talking to each other. One of them has long hair, and she is holding a tablet PC, and one of them has short hair, and she's making a gesture. In the background of the picture, I can see a stairway, and a man is walking down the stairs, and maybe people are busy at work. Okay, so the ending for me was people are busy at work. All right, now moving on to part 3. When I was talking to that intensive training session participants, I told them that for part 3, it's always better to use short sentences and always look at the words used in the questions and try your best not to like mess up the grammar when rearranging the words, because we're looking at the questions, but we have to answer the questions using sentences, right? And if you are looking at the questions, sometimes you get confused because the word orders are different, right? So you have to be careful. For example, the first question is, do you have any plans to move to a new home in the near future? Do you have any plans to move to a new home in the near future? Now, if you are going to use the question to answer, the very first sentence would be, yes, I have a plan to move, or no, I don't have any plans to move, right? So you have to be careful reusing the words, and you got to sort of like change the words as well. Okay. And for me, actually, I want to move. I've been wanting to move, but it's really hard to move a house. It's really hard to find a house. It's really hard to, like, the whole process. Just by imagining it, it's like such a hassle. So I've been wanting to move for such a long time, but I guess it's going to take some more time. So, do you have any plans to move to a new home in the near future? In the near future? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. But I let's see if I know anybody who has a few plan to move. Recently, actually, I helped my physical trainer move. Yeah, she was looking for a house, and I, happened to know the owner of this building, and he is my former landlord. And I'm living in the area, and I just called him and asked because he was such a nice landlord. He never raised the rent during the 10 years of time I lived there. And he was super nice, super cool. And, he himself works in the construction industry. So he built a very nice building, very strong building, and, blah, blah, everything. It's on and on. It was really good. I didn't move for 10 years. There's a reason for that, right? So I just called him, said hello, and I asked him if there's an empty room. And coincidentally, the room that I used to live in was empty. It was out for rent. So I told her, you gotta go there. I mean, it's like the rent is way below the market price, and the room, I lived there for 10 years. I know it. So you should actually go check it out. And the day she visited that place, she signed the contract. Yeah. So she moved into this new house, and she's like really thanking me. Every time I go see her, she's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's really hard to find a really nice house. Yes. Let's see. Good new. Yes, next month I'll graduate, so I have to move out of. Okay, so I have to move. I have to move to a new place, or you have to say I have to move into a new place, or you can say I have to move out of the dorm. Okay, so move into, move out of, move into, move out of, and find another accommodation. And Emong, no, I don't have any plans to move to a new home in the near future. I like it here because there are many friends living in my town. We never get bored. Good. It's nice. Okay, Teiji, yes, because my old house becomes so old. It's getting so old. My house is getting so old. Okay. Kan, yes, I have a plan to move out of my parents' house because I want to be more independent. A great choice. Petty, yes, I have a plan to move to a new home because my home is too far from the office. I want to move to a new place close to my office. Okay. Now, there are some expressions that you guys have to remember. It is close to my office. It is far from my office. And it is near my house, but it is never, it is nearby my house. Okay, that is wrong. I hear a lot of people making this mistake, saying it is nearby my house. This is wrong. You can put nearby at the end of the sentence independently, alone, because this is an adverb. It's used separately. For example, there is a park nearby. Or you can say, it is nearby. but you cannot say nearby my house. Okay, Penny, okay, kwa. Yes, I have to move to a new place because I want to live near my office. Good. Not nearby my office, but near my office. Good. Now, moving on, the second question is, do you think having good neighbors is an important part of what makes a hometown enjoyable? Having good neighbors. Okay. Now, neighborhood is the town, people. Neighborhood is the town. Neighbors are the people, like people who are living near your house, right? I have a problem with my next door neighbor. You know, there are three houses on this floor, and the neighbor on the left side, okay, I would have to say left side, is totally fine. He's a fine gentleman. He's not causing any trouble. I mean, he and I, we get along fine. We don't do anything together, but we know like we're not causing any problem. And my upstairs neighbor, they're fine. They have two sons. Their kids are really like wild. They run around. I never complain. I never said a single word to them, and they're really thankful about it. They give me gifts sometimes, and I'm really grateful about that too. And sometimes I give them a gift. Now, the next door neighbor on the right, I think this house was bought out recently and he was doing some renovation. He or she, I don't even know the owner yet. He or she was doing some renovation. And during the time, these construction workers, the contractors, have been turning on the music like the loudest. Like they've been voluming up the music. I mean, I understand they're working and they're doing some construction work, which is really like, tough. So they would like to listen to music while doing the work, but still like people are living here. Like we're living here. I have to record things and like the noise. So we were complaining and they, lowered the volume. Now, another problem. I have my, bicycle parked in the hallway. And they've been doing the construction work, not having my bicycle covered up. So my bicycle, like on my bicycle, literally there's dust. There is I'm exaggerating a bit, but an inch of dust on my bike. So the other day I tried to see how much dust was on the seat. And when I sort of like scrubbed, put my finger there, it was like my fingerprint on the white dust. So I haven't gotten rid of the dust because I wanted to talk to the owner and talk about this matter, and I wanted him to or her to do something about it. Yeah, it's their thing, so they need to take care of it, right? Yeah, so it really pissed me off. And it's been raining and the weather has been so friendly to ride a bike outside, but anyways, it's the person, my future next door neighbor is already annoying me. Yes. So I think it's really important. Yes, and go, the new news says, because we can help each other when needed and share daily stories together. It's very helpful and interesting. Yes, I think having good neighbors is an important part of what makes a hometown enjoyable. And a hometown, you don't necessarily have to think the place where you grew up. For me, Yangji, this is the town's name, is where I've been living for the last 15 years. And this feels like this is my hometown, actually. Although I grew up in Ulsan, where my parents are, this is where my home is. So this is considered my hometown now. Okay? So take care of each other and build a friendly community. That's right. When you have good neighbors, that's true. I believe having good neighbors is an important part. I work from home, so I would like my neighbors to be friendly. Oh yeah, it's really important. Yeah, even, especially during COVID. Yeah, we because I don't live with them, but we're living on the same floor, so we get to see them more often, right? During COVID, we all know. So yeah, I was happy with my neighbors, both of my neighbors back then. But I don't know about anything much about the recent neighbor, but we'll see. And Emongnim, yes, I think having good neighbors is an important part. I never get bored because I have good friends living nearby. Good use of the word nearby. And they make me happy and I make them happy. Okay. All right. So I think we have good enough answers here. Um, Yeah, but I haven't talked to the owner yet. So maybe in the near future, hopefully during the weekend or sometime soon, I'd be able to talk to the owner of the new next door neighbor. Okay, and the last question is, which of the following do you find most useful or convenient in your hometown? Parks, hospitals, and museums. Okay. Now, since I live in the center of Seoul, very close to Gangnam area where like most tourists visit when they come to Seoul, I have easy access to hospitals. I have easy access to museums, and I'm so lucky. At the same time, I have a very big park nearby. Yes, there's a very small park, very close, in 2 minutes of distance, and a very large park where it would take about like 2 hours to like walk from one end to the other end and then come back. So like actually I really love my hometown, my town, because I've got access to all three. But if I have to choose one, I would say hospitals. Yeah. Share your thoughts on this matter. Yes. Share your thoughts on this question. What would you choose? Okay. So, hospitals. I'm a person who would go to like clinics, not like general hospitals, because I go to general hospitals twice a year because, in 2017, I got my thyroids removed because I had thyroid cancer. And when after getting that removed, I constantly have to revisit the hospital, the doctor, to see if I've got another like cancer like going on. Luckily, I am fully, cured. So there's nothing like bad growing in my body anymore since then. But still, general hospitals in general, when you go there, it takes a lot of time, right? There's like certain process you have to go through. But in the city of Seoul, especially in Gangnam area, there are tons of small clinics. Okay. Now, hospital is like normally where everything like all the doctors are there. There's dermatologists, there's the surgeons, there's like everybody there, dentist and everybody. But there are like places run by individual doctors, right? And that's called, you can call it a doctor's office or it's called clinics. And there are many kinds of clinics everywhere, all kinds of clinics. So even today I visited, where did I go? Oh yeah, I went to a clinic that I go to and I went there to get some medicine. And I go to these clinics all the time, regularly. Yes, to get checkup or get my medicine or like, talk to the doctor about my recent like, symptoms. I like that. I like that, just like that. And, in Korea, the medical system is so strong, so we don't have to pay much. During the 5 years where and I was registered as cancer patient, like the government fully 100% covered my like hospital like bills. So I paid like some cents, just like some cents to like get my cancer treated. So I think that way Korea is a very nice place to live. Yeah. So I think hospitals is very important. But the thing is, like these clinics and the places that I go to, the hospitals, I've known these doctors for a long time, many years. So they know me, and when I go there, they know like the history of my like visits. So it's really easy to talk to them, and I wouldn't have to explain everything from A to Z. But when I was in Ulsan, my parents' town, where I haven't been for a long, long time, A, it was really hard to find a good place, like find a good hospital or clinic. And B, when I went there, I had to explain everything, my history, background of like my sickness. So it wasn't easy to talk to. So there are many hospitals everywhere, but I prefer to going visiting the same places all the time. Okay, let's see. Penny Chen, I find hospitals the most convenient because I often get sick due to my weak body, and I usually go to the hospital to see a doctor when I catch a cold. Good. You can just say I'm weak. You don't have to say I have a weak body. You can just say I'm weak. Having a hospital in my hometown makes it more convenient for me to see a doctor as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. That's true. But it's, I think, Penny, yeah, I think your answer put together would be long enough. And you, I think park is the most useful thing because I usually do exercise like running, jogging, or riding a bike. If my neighborhood has a park, I don't have to commute. Okay, so then I find parks most useful. That's how you should start your answer. If you guys are going to use the question, the sentence should be I find parks, or you would have to say, I find something most useful or convenient in my hometown. At the moment I'm talking, I can smell somebody smoking. I can smell this like smell of smoking. Maybe my neighbor is smoking. Okay, that's weird. Very unusual. Hmm. Okay, and a park nearby is the most convenient in my hometown. It has trees which help me get relaxed after a busy day. Also, I can do some light exercises in the park and improve my health. Good. Emong, I think parks are most useful. I get depressed all the time. Whenever I'm depressed, I need to go for a walk and get some fresh air, and parks are ideal. They make my life better. Oh, Emong, it sounds like you're always depressed. You're not happy. Try to stay, like light spirited. Like try to like yeah, I know, like I have a friend who's feeling always like depressed. I know, so I try to make fun of her and I try to like cheer her up. It's really like thing when I see her I feel really bad for her, so I really want to cheer her up. But yeah, going for a walk, oh, sometimes from time to time I take her out to parks and we go for a whole walk, and I think it sort of cheers her up. Yeah, she likes to spend time in nature. Okay, so I've covered all three questions and have discussed what we should, say as an answer. So here's my answer for question number 5. Now, do you have any plans to move to a new home in the near future? Yes, actually, no. I don't have any plans to move to a new home in the near future because I've been living in the same house for a long time, and this, is very convenient. It's very convenient to live here. I have no, problem with it. So no, I have no plans. Okay. I really couldn't make up my mind. I wanted to move. I want to move, but I don't have any plans. So there was like a conflict there. You could tell. All right. And the second question, do you think having good neighbors is an important part? Oh, you know what? Because I had a conflict, I want to do the other version, the answer of the other version. Okay. Yes, I have a plan to move to a new home in the near future because I've been living in the same house for more than 10 years and I'm sick and tired of the same house. So I wish to find a new house and move as soon as possible. Yeah, this is actually what I want to do, but I don't have any plans. Okay, the second question. Do you think having good neighbors is an important part of what makes a hometown enjoyable? Yes, I think it's very important because if you have awful neighbors, then your life can become a nightmare. But luckily, I have good neighbors. They're so friendly, and sometimes, I can ask for help to them. So I think it's very important. Okay. And then the last question. Which of the following do you find most useful or convenient in your hometown? Hmm. I think hospitals. I find hospitals most useful and convenient in my hometown because I live in Seoul and it's near Gangnam area, so there are many clinics and hospitals. And I've been going to the same place, like hospitals or clinics, for a long time. And when I go there, they know me and they have a long, like record of me. So it's really convenient to go there and ask for like, their advice. So I think, having hospitals and clinics would be very important. Okay. Should I say something about the parks? Okay. Well, let me give you my answers for the parks and the museums. For the parks, I think it would be similar to like what you guys said already, but I find parks most useful in my hometown because there's a very big park nearby and it takes about 5 minutes on foot. So I go there quite often. I go there maybe 3 or 4 times a week. During the weekdays, I go there after dinner and I take a little walk and I hear it's really helpful for your health. And then on the weekends, I go there. I sometimes ride a bike or I enjoy picnic there. It's a good way to get rid of stress, so it's really important for me. Okay, so that's what I would say, very similar to what you guys said for the parks and the museums. Actually, this is very not the most important thing, but sometimes I like to go to museums, and even I go there alone. So I find museums most useful in my hometown, and there are many museums nearby. There is a very small museums in my neighborhood. I can just take a walk after a meal, stop by and see some like drawings, paintings there. But there is also another big a museum about 20 minutes away from this like place. I go there from time to time to see big exhibitions and it's quite nice. It's actually just one subway station away. Yes. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to move on to part 4. This is the chart. Okay, so it's a work schedule of Ashley Higgins, the CFO. Yes. Friday, October 25th. Okay, so the time is from 8:30 a.m., 10, 11:30 to 3:30, 4:30. And looking at this, it seems like Ashley Higgins is having a hard time at work. Like her day is fully occupied. Yeah, she's working from 8:30 to 5:30 nonstop. Can you tell that she's even working during her lunchtime? Yeah, that's how it was. Oh, by the way, Van Lu Vong, you've become a member. Thank you for joining. Yes. Okay. So let's look at from the top. Look at it from the top. From 8:30, the person is having a weekly meeting with the department heads. Yes. And at 10, a capital expenditure inspections. The words are quite hard to read. Capital expenditure inspections. At 11:30, there will be a lunch meeting with Winston Bank representative. Yes, it's the CFO, right? Chief Financial Officer. So it makes sense that the person is having a meeting with Winston Bank representative. And then at 2, tax compliance inspections, okay? And at 3:30, there will be a conference call with the Singapore office. And then at 4:30, there will be budget and forecast reviews. Okay. And on the bottom you can see reserved. Yeah, you have to match the star with the star up there next to lunch meeting. It says reserved under the name Ashley Higgins at Hemingway's Diner. So lunch meeting, like a table has been reserved. It means a table has been reserved, right? Okay, so the first question, guys, I will give it to you. The first question is, what time does my first meeting start and who will be attending? What time does my first meeting start and who will be attending? What time does the first meeting start? The first meeting. Yes. What time does the first meeting start and who will be attending? Mm. What time? I'm waiting for your answers, guys. What time does my first meeting start and who will be attending? Okay, Khan, your first meeting starts at 8:30 a.m. and department heads will be attending. Good, good. You can either use present tense to give the time information or present progressive. I mean, a future tense. Yes, because this is something that will happen in the future. So you can say it will start or it starts at 8:30 and department heads will be attending. This too, you can say department heads will attend the meeting. Okay? Okay, Penny, you said at 8:30 a.m. you will have a weekly meeting and every department heads. If you want to say every, then you have to say every department heads. Yes, because every has to be expressed as singular, although we mean everybody, right? We don't say everybody's, right? So every department head or all department heads. Okay. So this is singular and this has to be plural. All right. And when you talk about the first meeting, it isn't necessary to say your first meeting. You can just say it, okay? And use a pronoun. It will start at 8:30 or it starts at 8:30. Okay? You don't have to say the first meeting or your first meeting. Now, I'm going to move on to the second question because there isn't much to say here for the first one. Now, the second question, if I remember correctly, I'm supposed to have dinner with the representative from Winston Bank. Is that correct? I had some students having a hard time understanding or catching the point here. So I'll read that again. If I remember correctly, I'm supposed to have dinner with the representative from Winston Bank. Is that correct? If I remember correctly, I'm supposed to have dinner with the representative from Winston Bank. Is that correct? If I remember correctly, I'm supposed to have dinner. Dinner, not lunch, but dinner. Dinner with the representative from Winston Bank. Is that correct? No, you have wrong information. Penny, at 11:30 a.m., there will be a lunch meeting with Winston Bank representative. Please keep that in mind. Okay. Now, Penny, if you want to level up a little bit, just a little bit, okay? Your answer is perfect. But, there can always be like a little touch. You can say instead of dinner. Yeah, it shows that you had like full understanding of the question that was only given by audio, like file. So you can show that I'm not just saying, but I fully heard and understood everything that you said, and I'm going to say you're not going to have dinner with him or with them or with the person, the representative, but you will have lunch instead of dinner. So you can say instead of dinner, or you can say not dinner. Mhm. With the person. With the person. So Penny said, no, you have wrong. Actually, you have to say you have the wrong information because we're talking about the information that's been already mentioned. So you have to say you have the wrong information. At 11:30, there will be a lunch meeting with Winston Bank representative. Please keep that in mind. Again, Penny, please try to show if you want to level up a bit, okay? Then you could say you will not have dinner with the person. I'm afraid that is not true. That's another way of saying that. You'll have lunch, not dinner, with the representative. Good. And Teji, the first meeting starts and department heads will attend. Will attend. It's better to put it in future tense, okay? So don't get confused. Teji, it's future tense. Jiang, not actually, because you will have a lunch meeting at 11:30 a.m. instead of dinner. Yes, you got the point. So Jiang, if you mention the thing about dinner, then that's how you get an earn extra point on that question. Yes, you earn extra points by saying that. So try, if you are very confident in providing answer for part 4, like all 3 questions, try to mention something that you heard in the question, and that's how you get higher score or more points. That's a very huge tip here. Okay, moving on to the last one. Could you provide all the details related to the inspections scheduled for tomorrow? So could you provide all the details related to the inspections scheduled for tomorrow? That's the question. Yes. So could you provide all the details related to the inspections scheduled for tomorrow? Could you provide all the details related to the inspections scheduled for tomorrow? You know, this wasn't so easy, so hard to find because the words were very obvious. It was there. They were there, right? Could you provide all the details related to the inspections? So it's not about finding what to talk about, but it's the thing is how you're going to talk about it. Yeah. So what words, like what kind of sentence structure you're going to be using to provide that information. Okay. I can tell it's Friday night. There are a lot of cars and motorcycles, like, driving really loudly outside. Again, the last question. Could you provide all the details related to the inspection schedule for tomorrow? Is it okay to just say 10 to 11 a.m.? No, you have to say from 10 to 11 a.m. From 10 to 11 a.m. Oh, but you don't have to mention 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can say from 10 to 11 a.m. Or you can just say from 10 to 11. Yeah. Or you can also say from 2 to 3. Or you can say from 2 to 3 p.m. Yeah, you don't have to say a.m. or p.m. twice. Very good question. Khan, there will be inspections scheduled for. You have to say 2. Khan, there will be 2 inspections, right? There are capital expenditure inspections. Yes. Actually, it is written S, but this one is just a singular session. It's just a single session, so you have to say there will be capital expenditure inspections, and there will be tax compliance inspections. Yeah. Not there are. There will be. So inspections is an activity. That's a name of an activity. Okay. So you can say there will be capital expenditure inspections, you can also say you will participate in. You will conduct. Hmm. Or you can also say you will join. Or join. They're all fine. Yeah. Or you can simply say there will be. Okay. So there is a session about there will be capital expenditure inspections. That's an activity. So you can say there will be something, there will be inspections. There will be something inspections. It's nice to put, is there anything else I can help you with? But the question would be, is there anything else that I can help you with? Okay. Or you simply say anything else. But these, express these word sentences aren't necessary to provide. Okay. Just so focus on like the core things that you got to mention for each question. All right. So it's my turn. The first question. What time does my first meeting start and who will be attending? Well, according to your schedule, the first session will start at 8:30 a.m. and it will be a weekly meeting with the department heads. So you will have a meeting with all of them from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. Okay. In my case, I always have a lot of time remaining, so I sort of go over like the same information, paraphrasing, but it isn't necessary at all. Okay, you guys, it isn't necessary at all. The second one is, if I remember correctly, I'm supposed to have dinner with the representative from Winston Bank. Is that correct? I'm sorry, but you have the wrong information. It says here from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., you'll have a lunch meeting with the Winston Bank representative, and a restaurant, a table has been reserved under your name. Okay. And that last sentence isn't necessary. Okay. And lastly, could you provide all the details related to the inspections scheduled for tomorrow? Sure, there are two. First, from 10 to 11, there will be capital expenditure inspections. Okay, it will be done for 1 hour. And then next, after lunch from 2 to 3 p.m., you will participate in tax compliance inspections. Okay, so both inspections will last an hour each. Please remember that. Okay. So the words weren't so easy to say. I kept like messing up the word inspection. Inspection, yes. I sort of got it confused with the word expectation. Inspection, inspection. Great. Now, moving on to the last question of the day. The last question is, which of the following do you think universities should spend the most money on? So there's a school here, right? University. We obviously would have to talk about our college years, like when I was in university or when I was a university student, blah, blah, blah. The school spent or didn't spend money on academic research or professor salaries or student facilities. Now, I find it relatable to talk about professor salaries or student facilities. Yes, because academic research, if you're actually just undergrad, then it's not really relatable because you don't do much academic research as an undergrad student, right? But if you are like masters or if you're doing your doctor's degree, I guess you would have to do a lot of research and you would need a lot of support from, you need a lot of like funding from the government or from schools or whatever to in order to conduct any kind of research. So I think that's really important. I haven't done that. So I think I could talk about professor salaries because the higher salaries you give, I guess you could bring in like better or more prominent or famous or popular or established professors or experts, right? Professionals. And student facilities, I think this would be very important for most people because it's about the classrooms that we study in or they study in, the chairs, desks. And if you have experience of living in a dormitory, dorm rooms, it's really important to have like clean condition. The like kitchens that we get to use or the showers that we get to use, they're really important. So Penny says, I think that universities should spend the most money on student facilities. There are several reasons, and most of all, it's very helpful for students learning. I study at ABC University, and there are many great student facilities on campus. Firstly, we have a large library filled with books. You can find information on any topic. Wow, that sounds really great. You know, I really like my college where I did my undergrad, but I really didn't like. There's one thing that I didn't like about my, university that I did my master's because it is a very old school. It has a name, and it's when President Obama visited Korea, he actually gave a speech at that university. It's HUFS, it's Hanguk Universities of Foreign Studies. Yes. So it's FHUFS. And Barack Obama, he chose that school to give the speech because he thought, it's an international like school. It's a foreign studies school. So there are lots of international students there. So he thought that would be the best place instead of like the best school, which is Seoul National University, to give a speech. And one thing I did really disliked, I wouldn't say I hated, but I disliked. Actually, I hated it. I hated it. I disliked about my school was the the restrooms were terrible. The restrooms. So, I really, really didn't like using the restroom when I was at school. So I would like go to the restroom like before class, outside at Starbucks, or like at a restaurant before I get into class because like restroom, especially in our like, English like major, like that building was terrible. It smelled nasty and I just like I couldn't use it. I couldn't do it. Yeah, so this reminds me of that place. Mm, Secondly, there's a spacious food court, delicious food. Wow, gives me the energy. And most importantly, we have comfortable dormitories so I can sleep well every night as I focus during the day. Penny, you have the perfect answer. I don't think it could be any better. Con, I think universities should spend most money on student facilities, and there are several reasons. And for example, I have to study so many things in the university. I always spend hours in the university, so I expect good student universe facilities. I'm able to focus fully on my studies. And con, I think it's better to be more specific, like what Penny Chen did above. Yes, try to check the answer of Penny Chen. It's right above yours, and you can get more like detailed information. That's really good. And Emong, I think universities should spend the most money on student facilities. Back in the day when I was a student, the facilities were very poor. Air conditioner didn't work properly. Oh my God. Desks were tall and chairs were too short. It was so distracting. Or you could say it was uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. When we're talking about furniture, like when it comes to furniture, the adjective would be it was so uncomfortable. Also, if students' performance improves due to upgraded in facilities, then the university's reputation would certainly be better. So universities should invest in student facilities. So you guys have a lot to say about student facilities. I also have. I told you about the restroom experience, right? Okay, now I want to talk about professor salaries. Yeah. Of course, I think everybody talking about student facilities, your answers are just fine. Yeah, I don't think I need to add more words to that. But I would like to give my answer regarding professor salaries. Okay. And in order to give you an outline, I think like professor salary, if the school like gave, like, for example, like my school always paid a lot. High salaries to professors. And when there were like experts, a better person to be hired, they offer them high salary and they recruited or hired that person. So we were able to learn many things from them. We could always call them Tom, right? They hired Tom and he was a very prominent researcher or like scientist or expert, and he was hired, so we were able to take his class. We learned a lot from him. It was great. So I think professor salaries is most important so that we could learn from greater people. Okay, so I think that's the answer that I'll give because you guys have so many things to say about student facilities. Okay. I think universities should spend the most money on professor salaries. And there are several reasons to support my opinion. And most of all, I think it's very helpful to hire great professionals. For example, when I was in college, when I was a freshman, the school didn't pay much money to hire good like professors. So when I went into classes, the professors were not experts. They didn't know what they're saying. So a lot of students had, some complaints about this matter. So after 2, 3 years, especially eventually when I became a senior in college, they've allocated more money to hire better like professors, and by giving them higher salaries, they were able to hire like prominent people in each field. So the students were able to learn better things from them, and it was better for their reputation, and that's why I think so. Okay. So they allocated money to hire prominent like experts. They allocated money to recruit professionals. Okay. So we were able to learn more things from them. And I really like the word reputation. It was used in some of your answers. So it was helpful for the school's reputation. Reputation as well. Okay. That's why I think so. All right. And I'd like to share my version for the choice of student facilities. Okay. Here's mine. I think universities should spend the most money on student facilities, and there are several reasons to support my opinion. Well, most of all, it is very helpful for the students. For example, when I was in college, I had to stay in the dorms, and during the first 2 years, I stayed in a very old dormitory, and the facilities were awful. The beds were very, very uncomfortable. The bathrooms, the showers were very nasty. They were not clean enough. So luckily, the school went through a renovation after 2 years, and then from junior year, I was able to use a better like dorm. I was able to stay in a better dormitory. They had new beds, new desks. All the new furniture was new, and they improved all the facilities. So we were very satisfied, and we were able to enjoy our life on campus. It was very happy for our satisfaction. It was very helpful, and that's why I think so. Okay, so that was my story about student facilities. Yeah, I actually lived a long time in dorm, like on campus, so I can really say a lot about that too. All right, so I think I'm done here. I gotten through the whole set of TOEIC speaking. And it seems like today the participation rate wasn't so high, but still a lot of you came today. I see some people from Japan, from Korea, and from Taiwan, and Vietnam. And it does seem like you guys have been studying very hard. And I can tell that your answers are really good. And I'm just hoping that you guys can say these answers, not just write, because we all know that writing and talking is totally different, right? So, especially when you're talking, your pronunciation matters and your intonation matters, and also your voice matters, because if you speak in a very small voice, the delivery isn't good enough, right? So, the other person, in this case, it's the rater who's giving you the score, wouldn't be able to understand you clearly. So make sure when you're at the test center recording your answers, speak up. Okay. You don't have to shout, but you need to speak up in order to give like loud enough answers. Okay. And you also have to practice like part one. I always say people think that part one is a very easy part because you're just reading, but no, it's not. It's about showing your understanding of like basic of English, whether you know the meaning of phrases. And also it shows your pronunciation, and it says a lot. Okay. So that's all for today. And next month, yes, it's going to be July. It's finally going to be the hottest season, the hottest months of the year, right? And I'll be here twice. I'll be doing live twice. And once will be on the 11th. Yes, 11th of July. And the second one will be on the 25th of July. Okay. So I will see you back in July. And until then, try to cool down a bit and stay cool and don't get so heated up. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and I'll see you next month. Bye bye.